So, Editor Panda here. I thought I spoke about this in the beginning, but I didn't. But I do want to speak about one quick thing before you guys get into this. It's going to be a very long video, just warning you that now. So get your popcorn, as I stated in the video. If you guys want to help, this would be very helpful. I have my second channel up and running again. If you guys can, please, if you guys want to have a different channel and you want to show that you're going to watch it, I plan on actually starting my second channel again. It's going to be more focused on, of course, Wizard 101, but I want to start doing variety stuff. I want to get out of Mega Man Maker, but this channel is going to be exclusive to that, where the other one is for, like, if I want to stream like a Nintendo game, a PlayStation game, something on my computer, whatever, that is where I'm going to do it. I'm just like, if I do it on this channel, it's going to get stuck in miscellaneous and stuff like that. So I figured maybe to pop that off, maybe you guys can help by, liking the videos over there, just to help show the algorithm to start, bringing up my stuff. I have spent probably countless of days shutting all of my stream clips down and bringing them down to about 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes, because I spent so much time trying to get the clips of me playing my Wizard 101 crafting only streams down to a wire of just trying to see if that would help, because I love that challenge. But the problem is I'm not getting recognition, and I don't know why. I've seen people doing this almost similar things and getting countless of hundreds of views, and I'm over here with like literally 1 to like 6. So if you guys can help with that and use that as a reference point to branch myself over to both here and there, it would help me understand that you guys want to move over to that channel as well to watch me play something maybe you guys could recommend to me, or I will just go live over there and play some freaking Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or something that you guys want to join. Like maybe I'll play some Rocket League or play something that you guys have. I even have Smash Bros still and Super Mario Party. Maybe we can play that together. But besides that, I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. My premiere will come soon. Just give me time. I've been very busy. But besides that, guys, enjoy the video. I'm sorry that it's so long, but I really wanted to get some stuff out of and kind of get a little personal with you guys. So, catch you guys in the next one, and see you soon. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, oh, so you guys recognize this chair, right? It's gonna be my last video with it. It's been a journey. This chair has probably 4 years of my butt being on it. Not very long, nothing too serious. But down on the bottom, we have like, I wish I could show you, but my camera doesn't go that far. The freaking thing is like breaking up on the arms. I have it taped up, stuff like that. I used to tape the seat just so that it didn't look disgusting or destroyed or anything. I've gone through probably 3 different chairs since I started my YouTube journey. It's rough. I have gone through quite a bit. Versus like my first chair and my second chair which was a normal office chair as my first one, which most people start with. And then I moved over to a really big black chair that I got out of a garage sale, and I didn't last very long in that one. And then I moved up to this one. And I can't say goodbye. As much as I want to, it's hard. This was my first ever actual chair that I had more than probably a year to a year and a half. And versus like when I first started and I moved over to this one, I didn't have as much connection to them. This one has gone through many different waves of different sides of me, and it's gone through a lot of different categories of like, this chair has gone from the other room, that room has gone through a lot of changes, into here. My background has changed probably more times than I've changed my underwear. Probably most people's underwear. We all have our different ways of our problems. But I've just gone through a lot since I got in this chair. It's like me growing up with my cat, but a different way. So once again, I wanted to say thank you for the journey I've gone through. And let's quickly move over to our next upgrade. In 3, 2, 1. So I finally moved on to a new chair after 4 years. If you guys like it, it kind of matches with the whole, the aesthetic. I kind of have like a little, I have character. My whole motto is black and white, which is basically panda colors. Gives you guys more of a option to see what's behind me. I don't have the freaking shoulder thingies anymore. So I figured the other chair was breaking down. It's aged. It's kind of hit its point. I decided to basically retire it. I've gone through quite a bit of stuff. I've moved on to a new mic. I moved on to a new camera. I moved on to a new chair now. I've moved my office from my room that I have now as my bedroom to an actual big room that's kind of like an office size room. It's like the second master bedroom, if that makes sense. So let me quickly do something. I need to hit something really quick, so bear with me. For you guys, it's going to be instant, but I need to grab something. So 3, 2, 1. So I had to go grab my food because the I forgot exactly what it's called. I think it's like Walmart Plus or something. I got lazy and I'm like, you know what? I'm not leaving my house. It's way too hot. So I ended up ordering myself some food. So grab yourself a cup of coffee or get yourself some popcorn. Maybe you can share it with me. Who knows? But I'm going to be sitting here and I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit of time. So I wanted to talk. You saw the thumbnail. I'm kind of iffy. I never have a smile on my face when I do my thumbnails. But if you read the title, I wanted to talk about my last 5 years of my life. I'm not going to make it very long. I'm not going to make it like 30 minutes long or anything. I'm going to kind of brief up everything and kind of tell you guys the journey that I have taken and how long it's taken me since I got out of school to get myself an actual job and what's happened in between. Now, if you guys remember back in like 2017, 2018, before pre-pandemic, I hit a roadblock that was called, I think the video was like, I've hit my limit kind of thing, and it was really the hardest time. I have not hit that low in quite some time. So, if you guys don't know, my parents know, and a couple of my friends know, I have a little bit of childhood trauma. not a lot of people know. And I try to explain it kind of briefly that I've had a rough childhood. Nothing compared to some other people in my life that I know or other people in the world, but I had probably one of the harder ones that I know of. In my own person, not being biased, it was rough. So, I've told the story of how bad I was bullied by the school districts. No students were bullying me, there wasn't much to it. And the reason why I say school districts is because I was basically not wanted, and I was kind of half kicked out of about 10 to 13 different schools. A little over exaggeration, but I can't remember, but it was a decent handful. Probably about 7 ish. And the reason why is because I used to have a very, very bad temper. A temper that most schools would say, get the fuck out. The reason I was not treated properly is because a lot of doctors, a lot of things, a lot of people did not want to test me for diagnoses of basically mental depression or, in other terms, mental disabilities. People normally call me out as, I don't know the word of I want to say is puberty. So if you don't know, during that time, I didn't have a second alternative to how I felt about myself. I didn't really think I had two different sides of myself, which is basically I live two lives. I live the panda life in public and in private, but I have my male side that's not as aware, but I live two lives, which is why I'm called Panda. And during that time, I was living the male life only. So let's pretend that you guys don't know me as Panda, but as my male, I'm going to call it dead name. I go by that name in public only, and in private, I try to go by my other two names. So we're going to call it Joe, okay? I don't like going by my original name, my legal name. So we're going to call myself Joe for a minute. So they decided to basically think that because of my hormones, they thought I was going through a faster hormone change than normal. And just thought, okay, maybe that this person was very aggressive. Normally people decide to say some males go through faster hormones than others. Some of them can be genetic. Some can be... Think of a female, right? Sometimes they go through their monthly at a young age, like around 7 to 10. And some can go through their changes late. Well, some males can go through a thing called the aggression change. And because they thought I was going through that kind of moment, they didn't want to diagnose me. And keep in mind, males eventually get very, very aggressive when their hormones go berserk. Imagine I'm going to say an 18-year-old boy. I have seen males around their teenage to late teenage age. I'm going to call it the age. You guys should all know what that means. Is basically at their very peak of their growth, their testosterone can be triggered very easily. Think of that, but as a very young child. Somehow they didn't catch on that I had a problem. So my whole schooling was fucked the moment I got to middle school. My parents and I all knew I was not going to get schooled anytime soon. ever, to be honest. I didn't get diagnosed until I was about in late high school. Every other student was diagnosed the moment they were like 5 years old. For some weird reason, I was the one to get basically the can was thrown at me. It was like, no. So my schooling was basically, I was thrown at very varieties of different schools until I was set in stone at a certain school that I'm not going to name. It took me all the way up until I was in, I'm going to say 7th grade. About 7th or 8th. I think it was about 6th or 7th, to be honest with you. Until I was in that grade, I was basically thrown everywhere. My preschool, I was in one school for probably 4 years until we had to move. And that wasn't due to anything in particular. That's just my life, and my parents had to find different jobs and different stuff like that. I don't want to get to that personal stuff. But if we're going to talk school, we're going to talk about late preschool, not preschool, but sorry, early grade school, which is basically kindergarten to like whenever you go to middle school. I was basically yanked and tossed around like a rag doll until somebody wanted to take me in. So myself, I've gone through a lot of problems that caused massive trauma. It's one of the reasons why I have massive trust issues still to this day. And then once I got to middle school, I was going through a lot of family drama. So another reason why I have trust issues is because my own family has stolen a couple good thousands of dollars worth of valuable stuff in my house. And we decided to kick them out of our family group. We don't speak of names, we don't speak of anything in particular. We're just going to say that they basically screwed themselves, and now I'm down to basically myself, my parents, and my family in a different state / my couple of family members that I still communicate with. So now that I'm going to get into the high school side, because this is wild, I wanted to kind of explain some of the stuff before I got into the juicy stuff, because it kind of leads to my last 5 years of my life. So let's talk about my high school time, because this is pretty intense. This is when I first met you guys, some of you that's going to watch this. So in high school, I basically, or let's just say the first year of high school, between the first year of high school and I'm going to say 9th grade, I was basically in the phases of getting myself diagnosed. And my family had to force a lot of different doctors, different pediatricians, and different other stuff, because I'm going to call it pediatrician because one of them was. So I had to be forced into a thing called a child adolescence hospital, and I was kicked out of the administration about 10 times because they were like, we don't have room, we don't have this, we don't have that. So eventually I was able to make my way into there 3 times out of the 10. Basically I was in and out of that whole phase 13 times. We're basically rounding up. I could have been a little bit less, but I'm pretty sure I at least hit the 10th chance. So over that time, I was basically in and out, and by the last phase of the hospital, I was finally forced to get my blood done. Basically, I hate needles. That was the phase where I was forcefully and aggressively pinned by 5 nurses and doctors and people that were like security guards holding me down the moment I was waking up off of my bed. And all I remember is them knowing when I rolled out of bed. And when I woke up, I was pinned to my bed to get my blood taken from me. Was that against the law? No. You want to know why? It's because I refused too many times as of a warning, and I was warned if I didn't get my blood taken from myself and them taking it from me, by the end of about the second week, they were going to force it out of me. I didn't listen. I refused everything. And that's when I was like, I need to figure my shit out. And I did. This was the moment that I got help. This was the moment we all figured out that I have something wrong with me. I don't look like this different version of myself anymore because I've grown up. I've grown up with my disabilities. I've known before doctors knew. The reason I don't have this anymore is because I came to justify myself. That trip was the reason why I figure because now I have trauma and I'm still trying to figure out things. I think I have alters, and let me explain. My friends know I have different versions of myself, like literally different personalities, different things. I don't have MPD, which is multi-personality disorder. I have DID. They're kind of similar, but one is worse than the other. Now, some of you may know what this is, and I could be wrong, but as far as I am aware, there's a huge difference between multi-personality and DID. Multi-personality can kind of be more controlled in a way, even though it's very uncontrollable. After a while, you can kind of find yourself in your middle ground. Where DID has things like triggers, they have a bigger system, things like that. The reason I think I have DID is because I have 4 to 5 different versions that I don't like to speak of. And one of them is a protector. I honestly think I do have one. Because when I go basically berserk, it's like a trigger to my protector. Because the moment I lose I'm trying to speak the word. It doesn't want to come out of my mouth. The reason I have something like that is basically during the time when I was in my last phase of my last trip to the hospital. I was able to split myself from my anger. And people say everybody has an angry side. And everybody does. But there's a difference between being angry and losing control and being able to be angry and then you instantly snap with a snap of a finger and you calm down instantly. That is why I think I have a protector. So, because normally when you lose control of yourself, you lose your self-esteem. You become angry, frustrated, and absolutely lost of control. For some odd reason, the moment I get angry, I go like this. My wall between myself and the back of my brain flips like this. And I calm down almost instantly. And I don't even remember going through that phase. I don't have a thing called short term memory. I actually think I have an alter. I think I have something in that nature, because then I have my protector. I have my other stuff that I don't like to speak of. And I have a thing that I have, like, I call it my child. It's not a little or anything like that. I think I actually have one of those, but I'm not going to jump to that. That's a personal thing. But I have a thing that basically I call my child. And I've spoken about this in the past. And I call it my angry side child. She gets grumpy and she goes berserk. She is when I can't actually get my protector out as fast as I can. She actually calls herself a different name than myself. But to the side, let's start moving on towards the last 5 years. I just kind of wanted, as I spoke before, I wanted to kind of get that out of the way to kind of lead into the back history of why I'm about to explain some stuff. It's been almost 30 minutes already. God damn, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to cut this up. So, around pre-COVID, I had a roadblock that, I've gone through all the stuff with school, and I thought that was over. People were kind of being douchebags to me, throwing applications here or there everywhere, and nowhere wanted to hire me at all, like whatsoever. The moment they heard I have a mental disability, they're like, fuck you. Not happening. And it kind of hurt. I was fine the first few years of being declined. I'm like, okay, I just got out of school. I really don't need this right now as much as I need it. So over the first 4 years of being out of school, I hit that moment of the very lowest point of my life. I don't like saying this out loud, but because I'm already going personal, I might as well. So, something that not a lot of people know is during that time, I was at the point of committing arson on myself. I don't like using the other word because, it's against the TOS, but you guys kind of understand where I'm talking. I was so dark in my brain that it was so foggy that I didn't care about anyone but myself, not even myself. Luckily, I had no way to do it, and I had many people to support me, including you guys, that it kind of left me in a loop of, I can't do this to myself. And if it wasn't for everybody being so supportive towards me, I probably wouldn't be here right now. I was trying to get into a program called AIM, which I've finally in since 2 years ago. And I was waiting for an approval for almost 3 years. And because of the pandemic, it slowed that process down a lot. And I mean a lot. And because of how dragged everything was, places were shutting down, I started to feel more hopeless as time went along. I had my parents working. I had my friends working. They were saying how much that they loved, their life. I started to feel worse because I was basically workless for almost 6 years of my school. After my school happened, I had no way to do anything. So I slowly started to get depressed again. My depression has always been with me since I was born. I was antisocial. I was basically the most antisocial person I have ever met in my entire life. Just because you know yourself doesn't mean you've met your true self. So during the last year of, my GED, because I got my GED because I couldn't learn anything in school anyway, so I had to do my GED. If you don't know, there's a lot of things that happen in school. You can either be forced through grades, and you can basically be school locked until you're 21, and then they kind of give you the boot. Once I figured out that I had problems, I had a way to get myself into a school to work program and also special needs program. It was too late though. I probably wouldn't have a job if I didn't go back for my GED. Sadly, I had to learn everything since almost kindergarten in 1 year. Basically, 12 years of school locked down to 1 year. That was the year I lost my grandmother and my cat, so I had those on my brain while learning everything. And on top of that, the system changed from GED to a thing called TASC. So, imagine that. And then I had the school saying they didn't want to pay for another year of transportation to the school or another year of schooling for me because I took so long. And I took a lot of breaks because I had a massive low there. We're not going to talk about that though. Now, let's talk about the last 3 years because this is nuts. So, if you guys don't know a lot about how work areas are right now, imagine this. So, where I live, which is, I'm not going to say the city or anything like that, but I'm going to call it upstate New York. Upstate New York has been out of the pandemic faster than New York City was. We were out of the pandemic probably between 2020, late 2021 or early 2022. For some freaking reason, we slowly got out of the pandemic earlier than that, which was a few areas wanted to open up sooner, which was fine, But we're talking overall, everything around us was open by August of 2021. There was places that were open probably between, I want to say, April. For some weird reason, now that they've lost employees because they want to stay on unemployment and get those juicy stimulus checks, still to this day, no one wanted to work. How come you wanted to hire people because you were so desperate but wouldn't take a person who was desperate to work? I would have been happy to be paid fucking $11 an hour just to get out of the door. I was desperate to find somewhere because I was tired of being locked in a cage my entire life. I was tired of being on Social Security. I was tired of doing this. I was tired of doing that. I was tired of my friends and family being able to work, and I'm over here like, I am not that disabled. I have both my arms. I have both my legs. I have a working brain. I am highly functioning. Just because I am labeled under autism does not mean it's going to stop me from fucking working. But the moment people hear, I'm sorry, but you are autistic, you are not allowed to work here, I'm like, are you serious? Are you that fucking retarded? I am sorry for that word, but I was fumed. I'm still kind of fumed on how bad they treated me. I won't use the R word ever again, but I just wanted to put that as a strong frustration towards people. Because people keep looking at autism as a thing that's going to slow people down from working. If you have a person who is highly functioning, if I can speak, I can walk, I can be on my own, why are you treating me like a crippled? Even a crippled person could work, just if they had enough brain to do it. I will never, ever look at a person who is physically disabled this different way as me. If they have enough motivation and enough self-esteem, they can fucking work. People are wanting to hire people, but they want a person who is trained enough, who has a diploma, but they can't just throw random money at a person who just wants to be in the door. So eventually I finally got into the AIM program after 4 years of waiting. 3 years of back and forth communication, like, I'm sorry, we can't do this, and this. Eventually, I finally got in. They found a few places, and I was trained to do laundry in the laundry department in a hotel. After 2 weeks go by, I got the boot. Never given me an example on why or what was the reason behind it. They just give me the boot and be like, sorry. Which, after almost 4 to 5 months later, I was put into the place I'm in now. So, I've been very happy at where I'm at. I'm very, very happy. Probably wouldn't be anywhere else right now. I've been here for almost as of theoretically, by the 2nd of June, I would be 1 year in. My first day was 2 weeks ago, but I was not fully in the system. I was being paid for my first 2 days, of course, but by the point where my job coach was like, you know what, we're going to give you some time to try it out without them near me, which was the first week of June. So after I started working and seeing that the time's going by much faster, much more frequent, I have never had a place that lasted past basically 4 months. I used to work at a place called Shane's Rib Shack, which is not around in New York anymore. But besides that, I really haven't been anywhere. And that was like my first year out of school. Which I have it on my resume, but it's not, it's not here anymore. I probably would still be there if they didn't shut down, but I lost it due to them shutting down. But as of, I came out to you guys on how I feel about my internal self, which is I live the female and male life. And coming out of that, my shell then was very helpful. Now working has been much more improved, much more efficient, and gets me out of my depression state. And just being able to do things that I feel is, feels more efficient. Feels like I'm actually getting somewhere in my life that's not locked behind the doors of my house. And you guys being here, listening to things, even though I promised you guys I've tried to not pass 30 minutes, it's been almost 40 minutes. I'm probably going to cut down the beginning of my video. But I just wanted to really show the improvement. I've taken away a lot of videos in the past. I've privated a lot of my stuff because I don't like leaving update videos of different things. I left a few of them just because it really showed that time. But I've deleted and privated quite a bit of the startup of my channel and left it towards more of how I am now. I wanted to show my improvement. That's the reason I built this community. That's the reason I built this channel, is to show and help people who need help. But besides that, I've kind of explained everything as of right now. If you want more of a breakdown that's a little bit more shorter than this now, and if you guys like my monthly checkups, let me know. You know, I know that a lot of people watch them now. And on top of that, in the beginning of this video as well, is I can't wait to start my project of my other channel because I want to bring that back. So hopefully you guys will follow that. Besides that, I love every single one of you. I'll catch you guys hopefully real soon. And Ragers out, guys. And I love every single one of you.